Hey everybody, welcome to the next installment of ProcessPro Digital Marketing. In today's segment, we're going to discuss YODA, which is abbreviated for your own market research, your own data. So use your own market research to make sure you're making the right decisions for your business. Inside of YODA, there's 5 main segments that we try to focus on. The broad marketplace, so the type of searches that are happening, your competition in your market, the distance that people are willing to travel for your service, your competitive advantage, and then repeat of the process. So for the broad marketplace, there's a number of tools and features that are available, but I like to use Google Ads for my initial data research. So once you've set up a Google Ads account, which is very simple to do, nothing's strenuous about it, and you can get in and start going, you would go under Tools and Settings, and then you would actually click on Keyword Research, and it would take you to a page where you can click on Discover New Keywords. Once inside the keyword segments, you're able to type in the keywords and the phrases that you believe are the right ones for your industry or service, and then it'll also prompt you to add additional ones and give you an option to help populate based on getting an idea from their algorithm as to what keywords they believe are right for your segment as well. This is where you're getting all of the data selects, all of the keywords that you're going to be focusing on, output into a file that you can download if you wish, and be able to keep and reference as you start to build your market. But this is where it'll show competition, the amount of traffic that's available, the amount of searches. This component inside of the marketing tools is super important and should be visited on a regular basis. The next element in YODA is learning your competition. So a number of people get frightened of this or don't want to deal with looking at who else is out there and how they're doing it, but this is super important. So what I suggest you do is you go out and do a search based on the keywords that you just gathered, and then put the location of your business into it. It gives you a listing of who else is there, and then you need to start compiling that data and doing research on what they're doing with their marketing and their web presence. So the next segment I'm going to look at in the competition factor is under maps. It's very important to know geographically where you sit against your competition and what factors might be determining to help give you an advantage. I know sometimes there's barriers of a river or having to go around a body of water or certain areas of a city or town that people prefer not to visit. So try to look for those advantages of how you can position your marketplace based on mapping your competition. The next segment that I usually look into is the shopping component. So if the product is visual or has a sex appeal to it of some type, you want to look at how that shows up in a visual element against your competition. So I will go into the competition element and look for the shopping component on the search and see how my competition shows up under that element. Once you've looked into the shopping, probably the next most prominent one in my mind right now is the video series. So based upon what videos are available on your competition, are they showing them on their website? Are they got YouTube channels? Are they showing them in an Instagram? Whatever video elements you can research for your competition, and trying to track those and make reference to what they're doing is super important. The next step in this process of YODA is the distance element. So what I generally like to suggest people are doing is, once you've looked at your competition's keywords, once you've looked at what they're doing with their marketing efforts, you want to start to really plan out the distance element, where you're starting to look for your plan of attack as to why you're going to differentiate. So I like to go under the mapping feature and create some type of a radius that I think is the right areas for me to try to market my product or service. Without establishing that, you can go way too broad and be going places where it's very unlikely that you're going to have your product or service resonate with your target audience. The next step in this process is not quite as easily explained, but I think with you guys looking for these competitive advantages, you should be able to pick this up pretty quick. I would suggest as you're looking at the marketplace and you've thought through the keywords that people are going to be searching for, you've thought about what your competition is doing, you've started to really target in on the radius and the area that you want to market to, I would really start to look for what is going to be your competitive advantage in this process. The final element of the 5 steps is repeating this process. I know that isn't probably the most appealing thing to hear, but the key difference here is that if you're repeating, looking at the keywords and what people are searching for, looking at what your competition is doing, constantly reevaluating your market, your radius, what you're doing, and then looking at your competitive advantage. Look at other places throughout the country and figure out what other people are doing and try to see if you can emulate any of that, and continually trying to evolve your process and getting better at knowing what's going on around you and looking at the data, not from what you believe is happening, but what from is actually happening in your market. The better you can get at doing market research and compiling your own data, the better chance you have of winning and being successful with your business.